The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET is what you need to win. Sign up today and bet $100, win $100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I am coming to you from a freezing cold Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast corner of England. I've got my bobble hat on indoors in the middle of the afternoon. That's how cold I am. Today is Wednesday, November the 2nd, and we are here to preview game number 4 of the World Series and give out a DFS line up for the game that will go off today, Wednesday evening, or 8:03 Eastern first pitch. And join me, as always, for our early morning shows is Mr. Noah Bennick. Noah, how are you doing?
Doing great, Malcolm. Honestly, Game 3 was quite stunning. 7-0 victory for the Phillies. Thoughts and prayers to those who had the over 7.5 as they put up 7 in the first 5 innings, and it just did not cross the line.
Yeah, well, you pretty much single-handedly saved the what reputation this show might have on the graphic last night by going 2 for 2. I mean, I've totally blanked in game 1, was swept the board in game 2, and blanked again last night. I was Houston and other things, Houston and under last night. But you managed to get the Phillies over the line for us. And what was your other play? You got 2 in, didn't you?
I had the Phillies in the first 5 over 4.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, in terms of a recap, the major talking point has been Lance McCullers and whether or not he was tipping pitches. Now, I think you're in a better position than me to be able to try and get to the bottom of this. So what did you make of it all? Because Phillies pounced on him early and often.
Well, Malcolm, as a pitcher myself and as a guy that rode the bench like I did, I was able to, get a lot of reps and just trying to pick up things that might be tells on pitchers. Now, I don't even think the world would have noticed this if Bryce Harper doesn't get caught in 4K by Fox cameras going, Hey, Alec Boehm, come here. I have something to tell you. Puts his hand over his face and then tells him whatever it was. And both of them homered on the first pitch of their at-bat. So Bryce Harper homers, 2-run homer in the first inning. The third out is made. And then after he tells Boehm what happens, Boehm then homers on a different pitch, but it was still the first pitch of his at-bat as well. So I'm like, this has got to be some kind of way. Hey, like he's tipping his pitches somehow. Now, there's multiple things to look at when you could be tipping your pitches, whether it's like, do you move your glove at all when you're changing the pitch in your hand? Is your glove in a different position? We saw it with Tyler Glasnow in the postseason not too long ago, where he literally on a fastball would set his glove down at his waist, but on off speed he would keep it up at his chin in the stretch. And the same kind of thing I think Twitter caught on with the glove. Honestly, I was writing an article for SGPN. I wrote an article putting out the college football playoff rankings and doing a bunch of betting lines. So check that out for me. But honestly, I thought I was at the forefront. Hey, I figured out what he's doing. I think I know what his tip is. Needless to say, Twitter was doing it the whole time while I was writing this article. The truth is, I'm going to bring my mic close to me. There were multiple tells that Lance McCullers was doing. First off, it looked like his glove height was different for both pitches. It looked like
that's the big one that the majority of people have picked up on. It's the glove height. It was going 3 or 4 inches higher. For the fastball rather than the off-speed stuff.
For the off-speed rather than the fastball, but still, it's it's a thing with the grip. So like mentally you tell yourself you have to get on top of the ball, which means you are by nature starting yourself higher. That
Yeah.
way you get the spin on the rotation. Where's my baseball? That way you're coming on top of the ball. So if you're starting up here, your rotation, your throw is already there and you're creating the spin. Whereas a fastball, you're coming from down under and over the top most of the time. So the thing that I caught on was different than most other people. I was looking at the legs, and there was one thing that was put out, and it was a video of him going out of the slide step. Now that's with a runner on base. That really, it is no leg kick at all, basically nothing, and you are just going straight to the plate. You're trying to limit the or hinder the runner from stealing second. So that one was I believe it was Harper's home run because there was a runner on first base. So there was like no leg kick at all. But when he did have a leg kick, I found it hard to tell where the glove was because he's got this over the head wind up with his glove. So when he was in his balance point, I looked at where is his left heel, and I was able to find out that it's like an inch further out on his fastball compared to his off speed. It's just really weird how some of these tips work. And professional hitters who have employees that are paid to dissect video on opposing pitchers, they have all the information ready at their hands where they're able to know, hey, this guy does this and whatnot. And my big brain thinking here is like they have seen this from previous McCullers starts prior to even seeing him.
Yeah.
So McCullers has been doing this for quite a while. And post game, McCullers said, no, I wasn't tipping pitches. That's either one, mental, because he's just denying that he was giving the other team exactly what was coming, going old 2017 Astros, banging on trash cans without doing that, but just telling them, hey, I'm throwing this. So you're immediately in denial. I've had a teammate that tipped pitches by maneuvering his glove if he was getting a grip on a curveball. And I used to catch, and I caught that for him, and he was like, no. And we had no video, so it was hard to convince him that he was doing it. But needless to say, 5 runs against Wheeler, and the first 4 pitches, 3 of them were doubles. The Astros have been known to pick up on tells on pitchers too. McCullers might not want this thing to go out like too big, because now you might have the Phillies looking into, hey, digest it a little bit more on our own pitchers. Are some of them doing it to us? You know what I mean? So especially with Wheeler, like that was a big like alarm going off in my head. Is like Astros lost game 1 and they come out in game 2 and they were on him like nothing. Like first 4 pitches, 3 doubles, and they scored 3 runs on the first inning. Did they know something was coming? That's just my head going wandering. But let's talk about something else in game 3. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the game, really. The Captain Insano and Go Bearcats is in the chat. First time I've spotted him in a little while. Good afternoon, Go Bearcats. A little bit of praise for you, saying you picked up on this pretty early. I know you were in the Discord last night while I was fully asleep. But you were chatting about this in the Discord last night, and you were on it pretty sharp. So, I mean, all that being said, you've still got in the batter's box in front of 50,000 people when your adrenaline's pumping, is you've got a fraction of a second to pick it up, decide what's going on, and then still have the athletic ability to hit the ball 400 feet. So, I mean, it's not
a stat. I think all 5 home runs were over 400.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true because there was a wall scraper by Brandon Marsh over in right field, but I mean, that's what I heard. So off of I think there was the Fox broadcast or something like that, but go ahead.
So, yeah, I mean, they've still, the Phillies still have to react and execute. You know what I mean? They have to be able to put those balls out of the yard.
Yeah, 100%. The changeup that Schwarber hit out, he hit it like 450. That changeup's low and outside. That was a perfect pitch, and he just leaned back on it and blasted it over the batter's.
He absolutely smashed. That was ridiculous. Yeah. So yeah, in the in the midst of all that, Lance McCullers became the first pitcher ever in postseason baseball to give up 5 home runs. I mean, the thing is that the Astros could have pulled him.
Tweet, or did you see the tweet that I found from McCullers?
Yeah, where he was flexing on his lowest home run rate in the majors record. I think the Astros could have pulled him earlier on. So there's a lot more things at play. It wasn't just this one thing that turned the game. When Nick Castellanos made that running grab again, he's made that's the third time he's made that exact catch. The exact same catch.
Defensive outfielder. Like all year, he's been brutal. And he's made
it was a big part of our handicap.
Sliding catch.
Yeah, pre-series was a big part of our handicap. We mentioned the Phillies. He's made the same catch 3 times now in the postseries. Yeah. And then we can't get past this without mentioning Ranger Suarez as well, who I thought was absolutely exceptional. He had a great second half of the season when I was kind of expecting him maybe to drop off a little bit. There was a few little red flags in his stats and his analytics, but he actually came good. And he was amped up last night. His velocity was up 203 mph and everything. So he was clearly the adrenaline was coursing through his veins as well last night. So a little tip of the cap to Ranger Suarez, because like I say, you've got to go out there and do it. And even if Phillies did have a read on McCullers, that would have meant nothing if Suarez had gone and given out a similar amount of runs as well. So hats off to Ranger Suarez. We move on to game 4 then this evening. We have got, like I say, it's at 8:03 Eastern first pitch. It is Christian Javier for Houston, and Aaron Nola, who pitched game 1, is back on the mound for the Phillies. We've got to pick him. It is -110, each of 2, and the total here is set at 7.5. So where do you want to lead with the handicap, Noah?
I'll start with both starting pitchers, I guess, for game 4 of the World Series. Christian Javier, 1-0 with a 1.35 ERA, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks in 2 postseason appearances. 1 was a start against the Yankees, and 1 was a relief appearance where he pitched 1 inning against Seattle. Did give up a run there. That was his only run given up in this postseason so far. Philadelphia going back to Aaron Nola. So that prediction pre-series where I said, hey, this could happen, Aaron Nola going game 1, game 4, game 7, is in the fold. Now, Aaron Nola did have a bad start in game 1 in a winning effort. Game 4, go out and shove. Game 7, you win it in Houston. He's got a chance to make an argument for MVP. Aaron Nola, 2-1 with a 4.57 ERA, 23 strikeouts, 5 walks in 4 postseason games. Really, that 4.57 ERA has come in his last 2 starts, where he's given up all of his runs this postseason against the Padres and the Astros. On normal rest, Nola will make his second start in game 4 of the World Series. In game 1, Nola pitched 4.1 innings. He gave up 5 earned runs, and 4 of those were credited to Kyle Tucker on 2 home runs. Nola tallied 5 strikeouts and 2 walks on October 3rd. Nola also faced the Astros, went 6.2, gave up 2 hits, no runs, had 9 punchies, and no walks. Malcolm, those are the 2 pitchers for the game. Would you like to hear game analysis? You want to talk about more of the pitchers?
No, not really. Just Christian Javier particularly, because it's the first time we've seen him this series, and that's a bit quite head scratchy really, because he's so good. He's absolutely outstanding. He's one of my favorites. So the fact that he can roll out as the 4th starter is quite remarkable, really. His 1 postseason appearance so far, he held the Yankees to 0 earned runs on 1 hit over 5 1/3 in a 5-0 win. Yeah, huge fan of Javier. It's a good matchup this against Philly. Javier is going to come at them with high fastballs. I think he gets a lot of swing and miss on that slider. But Philly have been able to hit that pitch as well. They've been one of the best teams at hitting that pitch this season. So going to be interesting. Take us into your handicap, Noah.
So I'm seeing 2/3 of the money coming in on the over 7.5. Here's why I think this game hits the under 7.5. Everybody sees Nola's last appearance where he gave up 5 runs, but on full rest at home in front of the fans at the bank, I think he settles down and he dials in. The Phillies have their top 4 arms on great rest in the bullpen, and Jose Urquidy last night in game 3, when the game was practically over and a lot of people were just distracted trying to figure out what Lance McCullers was doing. Everybody getting ready for post-game talk or actually just going to bed because the game was practically over at 7-0. Jose Urquidy ate 3 big innings in game 3 to keep the Astros bullpen loaded. I lean the Astros to win the game, but I'm not betting it. I also put a unit on Kyle Tucker to record over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs at plus 105. I lean Astros to win, betting that Tucker prop, and I'm also betting the under. Malcolm, the only reasoning why I have the lean for the Astros here is that they were just shut out and the Phillies put up 7 runs on Tuesday night. Is there a little bit of a hangover in Philadelphia?
My handicap, my pick is very similar to yours. Actually, I've skinned the same cat, but in a slightly different way. I've had to pump the brakes on Houston. I've picked Houston 3 games now because I kind of had to. Got them over the line once with a run line, which was okay. But Philly do have momentum, and Houston last night looked a little bit shell-shocked. Momentum is a real thing. It exists. There's definitely something going on. And you're talking about little tweak, like the coaching thing, like we've just spent all that time talking about the analysis, the recognition of what's going on, especially at the top of that order. You've got a lot of big players who are kind of coming together, just gelling at the right time. The Houston Bats, I think, have to show up at some point. They got to Nola last week. My pick here, now, this is on my local book, Noah, so I don't imagine they've made this market up without there being a similar market elsewhere. I've got the highest scoring period, which is a match between the first 5 innings and the rest of the game. So for me, the market here is the first 5 innings at minus 105 or the rest of the game at plus 120. So I'm going to take the first 5 innings as the highest scoring period here for exactly the reasons you just well. The list of names in that Phillies bullpen who didn't go. The Astros, we know their bullpen was one of the big things that we handicapped anyway. So there's been a lot of early runs. There's been a lot of early aggression from both teams in the last couple of games. So we can get some runs on the board here. And then I think this will settle down. Javier, you said Nola can settle in. And then we'll get into the bullpens. I think we could see a bullpen duel here. We've talked about SP pitching duels. We could see a bullpen duel. So for me, I love that just something different as well, because I needed to get away from just taking Houston on the money line. So I was looking for an alternative. Houston, the highest scoring period to be the first 5 innings over the rest of the game at minus 105. It was an alternative also. The first 5 over was 3.5, but that was a shorter price. That was minus 114. So this is actually a better price, and it's a kind of a similar bet, I think. It's the same kind. It's the same ballpark, but you're getting like 11 points.
Because you can get a 2-0 win for the whole game and still cash the first.
Yeah, exactly. You've got it. So yeah, that's what I thought. Do you have you seen that market before? Is that a US market, or am I talking to myself here?
I've not actually seen it, but I like the pick, and if you can find it wherever the listeners are betting, I like the pick a lot. Now, Malcolm, all this talk has been about, hey, the Phillies have 4 guys that they heavily rely on, and once you get past that, and I've been at the forefront of this argument, once you get past those 4 guys, they don't really have much else. Everybody in this bullpen almost everybody in this bullpen has pitched in this World Series already. The bullpen hasn't given up a single run. So they're kind of, I'm seeing a little bit of backfire with this whole Philly bullpen nonsense. But, we've been betting it all year. That's like my mentality. If it worked for us all year, for me, it's hard for me to change my thought process on that. But, at this moment, they look really good. So I like the bet. I like the under for the full game because I think that both bullpens are going to get involved and do well.
I did have one other pick here, which was the Christian Javier strikeouts. 5.5 at plus 200. like I say, he gets a lot of swing and miss. He's going to attack them early with high heaters. Philly will come out swinging because they'll be full of confidence. And I think we're going to get some length tonight out of Javier. So over 5.5 Ks at plus 200 was my other pick on that one. I know you're a strikeout man, so Javier, are you confident or not, or would you be trying to talk me out of that?
I'm not crazy about it. I would be trying to talk you out of it. He did face the Yankees, 5.1 innings, had 5 strikeouts this postseason. You look back at his other starts though, and he's crossed that number fine. I just think that Dusty has seen a little bit of, I guess, clap back or whatever you want to call it from fans and just talking heads about, hey, he maybe should have pulled Verlander a little bit earlier. Hey, he probably should have pulled Lance McCullers earlier than allowing him to give up 7 runs. So maybe we see him go to that dominant bullpen a little bit early, pull that trigger a little bit earlier than normal. That's my
you're absolutely right. I said myself about 15 minutes ago that McCullers could have come out earlier. I'm talking myself into Javier going longer here, so yeah. I want my cake and eat it. Happy with that. That's a nice handicap, and it's been a great series. I'm still thoroughly enjoying postseason baseball. We're going to give a DFS lineup momentarily. I'll tell you about the WinBet. First, our headline sponsor. If you're ready to win money and boost your odds, WinBet is live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. Bringing you the excitement of Win Las Vegas right to your fingertips with win rewards on WinBet. The WinBet Win Hour every Thursday from 5 till 6 Eastern. Marquee games of the week will have better odds for you to pick up there. Loads of promos, odds, and payouts right now at WinBet. Sign up today, receive a special offer. Bet 100, win 100. Loads to choose from. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And don't forget our YouTube promo is still going, where you can win that LT O'Brien Dawkins jersey. Free to enter. Subscribe to youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. Comment on a video. Each video a new chance to win. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss SGP contacting you when they pull the winner. Okay, so we picked a DFS lineup the other night, Noah, and the game got pulled. I then pretty much played the exact same lineup last night against Suarez rather than, was it Syndergaard? I played the same lineup. It was dog shit. I had McCullers and Houston back, so I think that's the first one really that we I put it on later. Do you know what I wanted to keep my little streak going for my rewards, etc. So I just quickly pressed all the buttons and on it went. So there's a couple of quid I'm never getting back again. But apart from that, we've done okay. So we'll go to the well again. Lead us off. What have you got in DFS tonight?
All right. So for my DFS team, I worked it backwards. And I'll explain it in a little bit when I talk about my utility players. But as for my captain, I mentioned his name earlier. I'm betting his over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs because he absolutely daddied Aaron Nola in game 1. At 13.8K, my captain is going to be Kyle Tucker. He had the best PVB on the slate. That's pitcher versus batter stats. I'm hoping for some of the same of game 1 and game 4 here, as he had those 2 home runs. So Kyle Tucker, I'm pulling a Dylan Rockford. I'm putting Kyle Tucker as my captain here.
Okay, I struggled with this. I couldn't get any players into it, and they were all seemed too expensive. By the time I put like 2 in, I couldn't afford anybody else. So I had to go really cheap for my captain just to get in a couple of the players that I wanted. So I've gone Brandon Marsh as my skipper. That will be at a price of $9,000. He's been in decent form in the postseason. He's a fun player to watch. He does bits of everything. He can run. Hit one out again last night. So with his iron, give me Brandon Marsh at 9K, Noah.
Yeah, did you see Insano in the chat?
I have just noticed Insano in the chat is mentioning that it's RIP about 50-1 Chas McCormack, and he is absolutely right. It has indeed gone tits up.
Yeah, we're pulling the old don't roster him today, and maybe he goes deep because we're not.
We've gone for the reverse gambling, saying we've talked about it.
Yeah,
Right. If we're not going to mention him, he's going to hit 4 home runs.
We're not complaining about the production that Chas McCormick has given us out of the 8-hole for the Astros. Almost a hit every game and a walk every game here in the World Series, but that's just not enough when you got Kyle Tucker on your team hitting 2 home runs. Bregman's also got a big home run with a couple of RBIs, and then on the other side you have Bryce Harper and all the other Phillies that are hitting home runs. You kind of have to hit a home run and gain some RBIs to win the World Series MVP nowadays, or be a lockdown pitcher. Sadly, Chas McCormick looks tips up for the MVP long shot, Mr. 50-1. Okay, now I said I was working backwards with my DFS lineup. I'm starting with my punt plays, just like you have Brandon Marsh as your captain for your squad. I have Brandon Marsh at 6K on my squad. I've overlooked him as the left-handed bat Philly punt play. I've chosen Bryson Stott for almost every game in this World Series so far. For the same reasoning as Stott in this DFS contest, I like Brandon Marsh because he's going to see a lot of right-handed pitching. And in his career as an Angel against Christian Javier, Brandon Marsh is 4 for 7 with 3 singles and a double. So looking pretty nice in his career, batting .571 against the Houston starter tonight.
Okay, so I'll stick my punt play out there as well. You told me that David Hensley is going to get the start for Houston. So I said I really struggled financially here to get everybody in. So he was the cheapest option. I've gone with Maldonado. I was bored of taking Maldonado. And for some reason, he's really crept up in price. He's been sort of bumming around the 4. I'm sure he's been around the 4,000 mark a couple of times. And he's up to 6,000 something. So yeah, but I've got David Hensley at 5,000. Hopefully, he can eke out half a dozen points off him.
Yeah, David Hensley's also my other punt play at 5K. The Astros, they made a switch at designated hitter. They went from Trey Mancini, who's now 0 for 28 this postseason.
Yep.
And they put in the 26-year-old rookie David Hensley in game 3, and Hensley rewarded them with a hit. So I think if you can get a punt play at 5K, he's clearly the cheapest starter in game 4, and he got a hit yesterday. So if he's going to give you some points at 5K, I think you have to take him. So David Hensley at 5K.
Okay, so going up from bottom to top here, I've also played Bryson Stott in just about every lineup we've put out. So again, I'm trying to switch everything up here. I'm switching all my look up. So I've taken the other Philly with the lovely hair, Alec Bohm, at $7,200. Hit a bomb last night because Bryce Harper told him to, and was only hitting 200, I think, in postseason before that. But yeah, that might just livened him up again last night. Again, he's a stolen base candidate, but just a little switch from my Bryson Stott train. So yeah, give me Alec Bohm. Hopefully we might get another Bohm run out of him at 7,200.
I like that Bohm run. That's like some of the terms that I was pulling out of my hat at the beginning of the season.
I was trying to join it.
Yeah. So I have left myself with 26.2K and 3 players. So I can spend up. I can go wherever I want with this. And I'm like, you know what? My lean for this game is Astros. I'm not crazy enough, or I guess willing enough to put money on them to win on the money line. My whole reasoning is I just think the Philly bats are going to come out a little bit slow after putting up 7 last night. I definitely think the Philly bullpen is going to be great, but the Houston Astros did just hit Nola a little bit in game 1. So I've decided with 26.2K left over to take the 3 hottest bats in the Astros lineup. So that gives me at 7.6K, he's climbing in price, just like you said Maldonado is. Yuli Gurriel has jumped up about 1.2K in price through 3 games this World Series. He is averaging 7.9 points this postseason, where he's hitting .333 with an .825 OPS. And I mentioned I was taking the 3 hottest bats for the Astros, and hottest bats in the Astros lineup this postseason. So I'm just going to rattle them all off. 8.6K, Jeremy Pena. The ALCS MVP is averaging 10.4 fantasy points per game with a 289 batting average and a 919 OPS. And lastly, at 8.8K, give me Alex Bregman. He has the most RBIs in this Astros order with 9 this postseason. He's averaging 9.9 fantasy points per game with a 293 average and a 941 OPS this postseason. So, Malcolm, I really like this lineup. I really do, because I got Kyle Tucker, who hit 2 bombs in game 1 off of Aaron Nola, then the 3 hottest Astros bats in the order right next to Kyle Tucker. So I think all of them are going to work together. Hopefully this stack goes well. And I have David Hensley as my punt play. He's going to be batting 7, maybe 8. I think he's batting 7. So I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the Astros order, and then I have Brandon Marsh on the other side. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I had loads of money left as well, so I kind of did a similar thing to you. Started in the same place. Yuli Gurriel hitting 333, just a source of points, kind of a high floor guy. I think Captain Encino wants to captain Gurriel in his lineup. I then got back to Yordan Alvarez, who I was absolutely fanboying on in the early part of the playoffs. So I want to bounce back from Yordan. He's going to make himself relevant again at $9,600. And I got a picture in there. You didn't. I do like the chances of Christian Javier tonight. I know you've said Dusty might be inclined to pull him a little bit sooner, but if Houston can get out to maybe a 3 or 4 run lead, and Javier can get along to the 6th, and he can cash my strikeouts, and he can put me in a good position in this contest as well. So at 11,200, Javier was kind of my big play there. So I have got Brandon Marsh as my skipper with Alvarez, Gurriel, Bohm, Hensley, and Javier.
I like how both of us attacked it. I think Aaron Nola was pulled early in game 1. And I think even if he does go well, I think they're going to want to keep his pitch count low, because I think he's coming out in game 7. And they have the bullpen to get him out of there after 4 or 5. So even if he pitches well, I don't think Aaron Nola is the greatest play at that amount of money. So I think that's why we're both avoiding him. You stated your opinion on Javier. I'm just a little scared that he might get pulled early as well with a full rest Astros bullpen, and we both lean Astros bets.
Yeah, absolutely. Just I hope it's another good game. I wouldn't mind it going again. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I'd like it to go 2-2, then maybe 3-2 Philly tomorrow. So just sets us up for more fun baseball. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, has got us to the end of this little preview. We've got enough time to get it out for everyone to consume on their drive home from work or whatever you're doing. We had a Batman come up the path, Noah, about four people after you punted Batman on Halloween. Was that only last night, or was it the night before?
It was
the night before, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2 nights ago. Yeah, we had about 20 minutes after we got on air, we had a Batman come up there. So you were close.
Yeah, I'm not really a big comic or Marvel or DC guy, but Batman is just like a big hit, you know?
Yeah, we had quite a lot of cheerleaders. Cheerleaders, I think, was the most popular. Yeah, there was quite a lot of cheerleaders. So yeah, you were a bit unlucky with your Batman punt. I'm going out to drink beer tonight, which is good. I'm going up the coast. Fun. Yeah, it does sound like fun. I've got a friend of mine visiting from New Zealand who we used to play football with, so we're all going out up the coast. Although, like I say, it is pitch black, it is freezing cold, and the rain is going sideways past the window. So it doesn't look like the nicest weather, but we'll go and brave it. And I'm sure with every pint, we'll get a little bit warmer. So yeah, looking forward to that tonight. And I'll get home just in time to watch the first hour before I pass out of the game tonight. So what are you up to?
Nothing too special, just behind the scenes working on a new project for myself and a few others in SGPN around college basketball. Hopefully that works out. So that's where a lot of my time is at right now. Also, honestly, school. schoolwork and stuff.
School.
So I love distracting myself with gambling.
Absolutely. I went on the mothership with Sean and Ryan and did a Breeders' Cup preview yesterday. So if you're looking forward to getting amongst the horses at the weekend, races are on Friday and Saturday. So go and find that wherever you find your podcasts. We said the word arse a lot over the course of that hour or so. So yeah, that's something to look out for. Thanks everyone for joining us. Go Bear, Cats, Captain Insano in the chat. Everyone who's watched live on Twitter, we do appreciate it. I know we'll be going head to head with Moonaf, who's doing his NBA pod as we speak. So go and give Moonaf a bit of stick in that chat box. Tell him I called him a dick if you want. Thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate it. Good luck with your bets. Enjoy the baseball. We'll be back tomorrow, I reckon. And until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.
They out for Houston. They got Houston.